हाय नमस्कार, चरनोलॉजी पॉडकास्ट में आपका स्वागत है। आज के हमारे एपिसोड में जो हमारी गेस्ट हैं वो मैट्रिमोनियल लॉयर हैं। उनका नाम है कशिश। वो फैमिली लॉ के बारे में, मैरिज लॉ के बारे में हमें बहुत सारी जानकारी देने वाली है। आई होप एंड आई एम श्योर आज का एपिसोड आप इन्जॉय करेंगे। हेलो कशिश मैम, क्या हाल है आपके?
गुड इवनिंग, आप
थैंक्स फॉर
कैसे हो?
कमिंग टू चरनोलॉजी। हाँ, मैं बहुत अच्छा हूँ। अभी और अच्छा लग रहा है मुझे, आप आ गई हैं। डर भी लग रहा है थोड़ा सा
मुझे तो ज्यादा डर लग रहा है आपसे।
अच्छा, इतनी भयानक शक्ल है
पता नहीं
मेरी।
क्या आप क्या क्वेश्चंस डालेंगे मेरे पे।
चलिए हम शुरुआत करते हैं सबसे पहले कि बेसिक से शुरू करते हैं। मैट्रिमोनियल लॉयर, फैमिली लॉयर क्या होता है वो आप थोड़ा सा डिस्क्राइब कीजिए।
So matrimonial and family lawyer वो होता है that deals with various factors that come under the scope of a marriage. That is a divorce, alimony that a wife seeks for or a husband seeks for, there's maintenance, child custody अगर child involved है, property division, स्त्री धन जो होता है, women का jewelry. So all of these matters that encompass under the roof of marriage comes under matrimonial and family law.
ठीक है, तो जैसे भी आपने बताया, तो एलुमनी, मैं क्यूरियस हूँ कि मतलब फीमेल तो कैन आस्क फॉर एलुमनी, पर
Even a man can.
हाँ, ये वाला
Yes,
तो
even
ऐसा
a
होता
man
है?
can ask. There is a provision under different personal laws. तो marriage में personal laws होता है, Hindu Marriage Act, Special Marriage Act, Muslim, Parsi, Christian. So under every field of different law, there is a section that a man can also ask for a maintenance. But then it depends on various factors. The man has to be really, not earning a single penny for him to ask alimony and maintenance. Otherwise, it's always the wife who.
सबसे पहले तो ये मैं जानना चाहूँगा कि कब एक परिवार को या हस्बैंड या वाइफ को लॉयर की ज़रूरत पड़ती है फैमिली मैटर्स को, डिस्प्यूट को ख़त्म करने के लिए या रिजॉल्व करने के लिए। वो कौन सी स्टेज होती है?
Basically, if you're not getting along as a couple and you want to seek the legal remedy out of it, where you want to separate legally, आपको दोनों के, you don't want to live with each other, that's when either one of the parties comes to a lawyer, either husband or the wife. Sometimes both the parties go to one lawyer if they want to settle the matter mutually, amicably. That means हमको divorce contest नहीं करना है, fight नहीं करना है कोर्ट में. We want to do it amicably. 6 months में we'll be done and dusted. So that's when they approach, and there are different ways. It's not necessary you always have to go via court. You can also mediate the matter. There are some parties के heat of the moment में मेरे को divorce चाहिए and they come to a lawyer. But अगर आप उनके साथ बैठिए, समझाइए, after some time they realize कि हमको actually divorce करना नहीं है, हम लोग का ये छोटा problem है जो it can get solved.
तो ये काउंसलिंग कौन करता है? लॉयर करते हैं या फिर
So there is
counselors?
a mediator. Lawyers can be a mediator unless if you undergo a course, you can do a mediation course and they approach you for a mediation. And if not, then there are certified marriage counselors as well.
अच्छा, और इसमें मेल और फीमेल राइट्स क्या डिफरेंट है इंडियन लॉ में? मतलब हस्बैंड वाइफ के जो भी लॉज में फ़र्क है क्या? मतलब अगर मेल करता है तो उसके राइट्स अलग हैं, और फीमेल अगर केस करती है सेपरेट होने के लिए, तो दोनों के लॉ और राइट्स अलग हैं क्या दोनों के?
No, if you want to, अगर आपको डिवोर्स लेना है तो डिवोर्स के लॉज इट्स सेम फॉर बोथ. देयर आर डिफरेंट ग्राउंड्स दैट यू कैन सीक डिवोर्स. दैट इज क्रूअल्टी, mental harassment, financial harassment, desertion, adultery. So this applies to both husband and wife. So that does not differentiate between which party is applying for it. But yeah, definitely there are a few sections that support the female much more than a man. But there is no discrepancy per se in applying for a divorce. The grounds remain the same for both.
और ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि दोनों में से कोई एक पार्टी डिवोर्स फाइल करते हैं, दूसरा कह रहा मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है।
Correct. So then you contest it out. You fight it out in court.
अच्छा, वो केस लंबा चलता है?
Yeah, 4 to 5 years is a minimum. Because अगर if मेरे को डिवोर्स नहीं चाहिए, so I will contest it in court. फिर बीच में बहुत सारे applications आते हैं, like there's a maintenance, if there's a child involved, उसका access, visitation application, property division, then it becomes an ego battle.
तो ऐसा भी तो हो सकता है कि डिवोर्स फाइल किया मेल ने और फीमेल कह रही नहीं मुझे नहीं करना है, ऑपोजिट जो भी हम ले लें, है ना? तो 4-5 साल केस चला कि नहीं मुझे तो अलग होना ही होना।
No, so it depends हस्बैंड ने किस बेसिस पे फाइल किया डिवोर्स. अगर क्रूअल्टी पे फाइल किया, he has to prove the cruelty, right? So if he proves the cruelty and the judge is satisfied कि उसने cruelty prove कर दिया है, so then he will be granted divorce. The wife can appeal in the higher courts if she's not happy with the order, or if the husband cannot prove the cruelty, then the divorce gets rejected.
तो यहाँ पे पार्शियलिटी है मैन राइट्स और फीमेल राइट्स में?
Not really. Rights में नहीं है, but there are few sections that support a female in terms of maintenance, child custody, because the child would be more comfortable sometimes with the mother more than the father. Majority, not generalizing it, but not in the ways of getting a divorce. There is no partiality per se.
और डाउरी के केसेस अभी आते हैं या मतलब कम हो गए हैं?
Dowry cases are there, but then half of them get settled out of court because, again, as I told you, half of them are made up. But as a lawyer, you cannot question your client whether what you're speaking is true or not. As a lawyer, we believe them, so we fight the matter irrespective अगर उनका case true है कि false है. But yeah, there are a lot of false cases wherein they try to, rope in the husband's mother, father also. So their in-laws also get dragged into the courts because of, these false cases. And agar if you satisfy their demand, say I want an X amount and you come close to that amount, then they will withdraw the cases, So suddenly the whole dowry ka thing just goes down. So you realize that this was never true to begin with. But then the judges don't consider that because it's getting settled outside court, right? So then the judges don't pay attention.
वैसे भी इतने pending cases हैं उनके पास तो.
Correct. So even the judges suggest go for a counseling or a mediation. So, the judges also understand that there is a plethora of false cases that is.
तो आपके पास जितने भी केसेस आते होंगे तो मोस्टली क्या रीजन होता है, मतलब डिवोर्स के लिए, मतलब किस चीज के रीजन क्या होता है जिसके लिए वो डिवोर्स चाहते होते हैं, तो कितना लंबी शादी के बाद वो चीजें होती हैं?
So there is no cap. ऐसा कोई cap नहीं है. It depends on a couple. It's compatibility issues, compromise. Sometimes in-laws का interference. Sometimes there's financial issues. Sometimes there's another partner's involved with somebody else. So it differentiates from a different couple altogether. There is no straight jacket formula के इस वजह से ही बहुत सारे divorces होते हैं. But I feel in today's world there are more divorces that are happening because women are getting more independent. So, any sort of discomfort, they don't wish to, हमारे parents के ज़माने में कैसे होता था, like, we have to stay because, now the girls also have financial independency, so they don't really care. हमारे parents के time पे ऐसा, things were different, with every generation's thing change. So,
that's the... गलत भी है ना, पेशेंस लेवल खत्म हो रहा है, आपको एडजस्ट नहीं करना है, झगड़ा हो गया तो चलो ठीक है अलग होते हैं. पहले ऐसा नहीं था कि आप पहले बात करते थे, उसको सॉर्ट आउट करने की कोशिश करते. अभी क्या हो गया कि नहीं हो रहा, हम इंडिपेंडेंट हो गए तो चलो डिवोर्स ले लेते हैं. वो गलत.
Sadly, this is the actual truth that is prevailing अभी in this generation, but yeah, you can't really help it now. This is how the whole trend is moving. So
तो कोई शादी मतलब जो डिवोर्स का केस आपके पास आया हो तो मैक्सिमम कितने सालों के बाद वो आया हो? जैसे
30-35 years. उनके चिल्ड्रन की शादी हो गई है. द चिल्ड्रन आर 40 years old, द पेरेंट्स आर 75-80. आई हैव अ क्लाइंट हुज रिसेंटली शी इज टर्निंग 70 and
तो रीजन क्या है 70 में? और आप अलग रह लो या फिर आपके बच्चा ही क्या है जिंदगी में?
That's we try to explain them, but then I don't know, उनका it's up to them. नहीं ऐसा भी नहीं है, but sometimes the husband is also not providing for the wife in her old age. She needs medicines and all. He's not providing. They're anyways living separate since 25 years. Technically they are judicially separate, they are separated. But it's better to have that whole
पर इतनी स्ट्रेंथ बॉडी में और दिमाग में होती है कि 70 साल का इंसान जाके ये कोर्ट कचहरी की जगह, हम अभी इस उम्र में लोगों के जो यंग लोग हैं वो परेशान हो जाते हैं चक्कर से.
ऐसे अगर आपको चाहिए तो आप कर देंगे ना, हासिल तो करेंगे ना हम जो भी है.
तो अच्छा ये बताओ मुझे कि सबसे ज्यादा डिवोर्स अरेंज मैरिज में आपको देखने को मिलते हैं या लव मैरिज में देखने को मिलते हैं?
There is no you cannot compare this again because this depends.
कुछ तो रेशियो होगा ना?
Not really, because sometimes love marriage may I have clients who have lived in together for 10 years and then within 1 year of the marriage they come for divorce. So now what is the reason? We don't know. I mean, you've lived together for 10 years and then there are some couples who arrange marriage के 30 years के बाद also come for divorce. So there is no division के love marriage 50 and arrange 50. It's very vague. There is no percentage differentiation between this as of now.
क्यों नहीं चलती हैं शादियाँ?
Dependency.
आपको क्या लगता है as a human being?
I feel also, as I told you, women are getting independent. less of compromise, not only from the women's side, even the men. Then always like sometimes there's an involvement of a third party, a lot of interference from the in-laws side, sometimes both in-laws, not only husband ke but even wife ke side se. So sometimes they just don't get along, and you've been being in the marriage with your partner because of your child, but now when the child turns majority at 18, you don't want to live with that person anymore, because now the child has become a major. So he can understand कि my parents are going to get legally separated, and I am okay with that fact.
तो कस्टडी की कितनी फाइट होती है, मतलब
a lot.
हाँ, उस पे मुझे लगता है उस पे ज्यादा वो मगजमारी होती होगी, या वहाँ पे ज्यादा आर्गुमेंट्स होते हैं?
बहुत होते हैं, because both the parents love the children and both the parents want to be with the child, but so they both do fight equally. ऐसे tooth and nail जैसे fight तो definitely होता है कोर्ट में, and sometimes the child is like treated like some article. मुझे चाहिए. That's not how it works, and it's really sad in today's generation that even though parents have the best interest of the child, they don't realize कि child ये पूरे कोर्ट के चक्कर में पिस रहा है. So the judges usually take the best interest of the child into consideration. There are some in chambers conversations that the judges have with the children. Yes, and it's make the child comfortable. Who do you want to stay with? The child will say, I want to stay with my father or whatever. And also sometimes you see that one parent is trying to poison the child in minds of the other parent. So then the judges understand that. Any common person, a third party, if I talk to the child and I can understand the child is brainwashed. So, but yeah, there is a tooth and nail battle in court for sure for the child custody. But the courts usually take the best interest of the child, because they ask the child as to what you are comfortable in. If the child is, has thoda common sense after the age of 8-9, where they understand what is happening.
उनसे भी पूछा जाता है?
Definitely, the child. कोर्ट में नहीं.
तो नहीं ला सकते ना?
No, they get the child to the court, but they are taken to the judge's chambers in the judge ka room, and the judge personally speaks to the child and understands the child is favoring to stay with which parent. Now say tomorrow if the child wants to stay with the mother, that means the mother gets the permanent physical custody of the child. But what about the visitation rights? The child is living with you, but as a father, I can come and visit the child whenever I want. Like there'll be a whole schedule that will be drawn. I will come on the weekends, मैं Diwali access लूँगा, winter access लूँगा. So the whole table is drawn before the custody is decided. So even if the child is living with the mother, the father has full access to the child via video or anywhere.
तो कभी कोई ऐसा केस भी आया कि किसी के आपने 2 डिवोर्स कराया हो, पहले उसका डिवोर्स हुआ, फिर उसने किसी और से शादी कर ली, फिर दोबारा उसका डिवोर्स?
Definitely, yes. Yeah.
तो दोनों में क्या रीजन आया था?
Both I didn't get along. One was a long marriage of 25 years, and because my child, we were never getting along, but we stayed because of the child. Child turned 18, I want a divorce. They found somebody else, that lady cheated on him, or some finance, she just got married to him for the money, divorce, done.
Cheat क्यों करते हैं?
That's a personal choice.
Choice है cheat करना.
Yeah, so that's also a ground for divorce that comes under adultery. So yeah.
और इंटरकास्ट मैरिजेस के क्या इश्यूज आते हैं कि पहले ही हमने बोला था मत करो उनसे शादी, तुम्हें बोला था ना कि मत करो, तुमने करी, अब देखो ये ऐसा आता है?
अभी के जनरेशन में इंटरकास्ट मैरिजेस इज लाइक पीपल आर एक्सेप्टिंग इट. देयर इज नो हार्म एंड देयर इज नो सोसाइटल drawback to this at this point of time, because people are growing and evolving with today's age. So they do get married, and there is a provision under the Special Marriage Act that 2 intercaste people can get married. So today if I am a Hindu and my husband is a Parsi, we can get married either under the Hindu laws, but that is only if the wife converts herself to a Hindu.
As per law ऐसा है?
Yes. You cannot do a सात फेरा if you are not a Hindu. So Hindu में हम लोग 7 फेरे लेते हैं. So if you are not going to convert yourself to Hindu, you cannot do the 7 fere. So you technically can do it, but your marriage will not be registered under the Hindu Marriage Act. It will be registered under the Special Marriage Act. So yeah, the laws are prevailing the same in both the personal laws, but the sections differ because different act के different sections होते हैं.
अच्छा, हम sections की बात कर रहे थे तो कुछ sections की बात कर लेते हैं जो मैरिज या मैरिज लॉ में आते हैं. तो उसमें जैसे IPC 498
that does not come into marriage. That is a criminal. IPC is Indian Penal Code.
उसमें हाँ उसमें
So IPC comes under the bracket of criminal law.
अच्छा ये सब criminal law में
Yes,
आता है.
but there is 498A that comes that a wife files for cruelty and dowry harassment against the husband and his in-laws.
अच्छा
So
और
that is one.
376 marital rape जो है
Marital
वो
rape is
376
not.
में
It's not
तो वो
criminalized yet.
376 नहीं है.
No, 376 is rape,
हाँ पर marital
but that is under
rape-
IPC.
हाँ
Marital rape is not a criminal
उसका-
act yet.
हाँ, तो
So there is no section to it.
नहीं है.
No, not as of now. There is still a debate going on in the Supreme Court and they are yet to decide the matter.
और बहुतों को ये लगता भी नहीं होगा कि वो marital वो rape भी है.
Correct. So usually जब divorce के लिए आते हैं ऐसे wife बोलने के लिए they put the accusation of marital rape हुआ है, but then you cannot prove it. How do you prove marital rape? And that's the whole debate, that has been going on in the Supreme Court. As far as my knowledge is, September 2021 में the Supreme Court was, debating the fact about whether marital rape should be criminalized or not. So that is still in the dilemma. It's still not decided.
तो अभी आपने जितने अभी हाल फिलहाल में जो भी केसेस आपने हैंडल करे उसमें से कोई इंटरेस्टिंग केस अगर आप शेयर करना चाहो या मतलब जिसका जजमेंट आ चुका हो या फिर कोई ऐसा कहीं आपको लग भी रहा होता कि यार ये क्या किस बात पे आके डिवोर्स ले रहे हैं या फिर आपको हंसी आ रही होती लेकिन आपको कंट्रोल करना है कि यार मतलब.
So because we are on the topic of intercaste marriages, I say this is a very interesting case. It's something that everyone should know because it's knowledge. That's how you get, because as you said that if you didn't know when I told you that a Parsi cannot get married to a Hindu without converting. So that is something people are not aware of. So same thing happened with my clients. I am from the husband side. The wife and the husband were in a live-in relationship, love marriage since a while. They decided to get married and she's a Parsi, the girl is a Parsi, the guy is a Hindu. They got married under the Hindu laws, Hindu personal laws. They did the whole Saath Feri and all of that. And they chose to part ways recently. And when they came to court, they filed a divorce of a mutual divorce under Section 13B of the Hindu Marriage Act. Now, how are you filing under the Hindu Marriage Act? Because the wife still remains to be a Parsi. She has still not converted herself. She still follows Zoroastrian religion and this guy still follows Hinduism. So, on what basis are you coming under the Hindu Marriage Act? So, their defense was, the couple's defense was that we did Saath Feri. So, the judge and the court explained them that just because you do Saath Feri, that does not put you under the bracket of being a Hindu. You cannot, first of all, do Saath Feri without converting yourself. So they apply for an annulment of marriage. Now what is an annulment of marriage? कि हम कभी divorcee कहलाएंगे ही नहीं.
तो शादी भी नहीं हुई है फिर तो.
ऐसे ही. So that's called
पर
annulment.
register हुई है marriage.
No, they've not even registered it under Special Marriage Act. Because it's not mandatory to register a marriage, first of all.
हाँ पर शादी भी नहीं हुई अगर साथ फेरों की बात करें religion का
So
फर्क
that's what the court explained them कि technically आप लोग की शादी भी नहीं हुई है. So you need to apply for an annulment of marriage. That means you're not married at the first place. So this was a very interesting learning even for me as a lawyer. And they got annulled. The marriage was annulled because, the parties were unaware that they cannot do something like this.
अगर लड़का पारसी है और लड़की हिंदू है और वो court marriage वो
That will be under Special Marriage Act.
वो valid है.
Special Marriage Act is only valid for interfaith marriages, intercaste marriages.
Okay.
So that's definitely a legal marriage. आप rights के हिसाब से आप कुछ भी कर सकते हैं. आप church में शादी कर सकते हैं. You can marry with the holy fire and do Saath Feri, but your registered marriage will be under the Special Marriage Act.
और ये मुस्लिम्स में शरिया लॉ चलता है वो.
Yes,
तो वो अभी भी वो है कि तलाक कर दिया तो.
No, that is decriminalized. So you
तो
cannot.
अभी क्या प्रोसेस होगा आपको कोर्ट पे जाके?
Muslims don't really come to court for a divorce. उनका काजी के साथ ही होता है. So Muslim personal laws are a little different than the.
तो इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में नहीं का हिस्सा नहीं हो.
They can come, but उनको निकाह नहीं, उनको divorce मिलता है अपने काजी से. But they can come to court to get a formal decree from the court. So there is a dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act is also there. But it is not so prevalent as say Hindu, Parsis or Christians जैसे court के दरवाजे खटखटाते every second day. That does not happen with the Muslim because it gets done in the mosque with the Qazi.
मियां बीवी राजी तो क्या करेगा काजी?
वही होता है, क्या करेगा काजी।
बेचारा। और कोई ऐसे केसेस जो बड़े इंटरेस्टिंग आपने या किसी और आपके कलीग के सामने आए हों?
So there's this one child custody case wherein the parents were obviously fighting for the access and custody of the child. The mother was given the custody, physical custody of the child, and the father was given visitation rights. But now what happened is the mother got a job in Thailand. So she has to go with the child to Thailand. अभी पति कैसे पहुंचेगा Thailand? Every Diwali, every Christmas, every summer, it is not feasible for either the husband to keep traveling abroad or the child to keep coming to India. So even though the order stated that the husband deserves a visitation right, he was not given it by the wife. The wife went away to Thailand and did not give the husband any sort of visitation of the child for 2 or 3 years. The husband moved to the High Court. The High Court heard the matter. The wife was summoned to come to India. And जब वो India आई, the judge asked her that you either give access, the visitation rights, you keep coming, or how do you want to go about this? So either you accept and obey with the order, or or half of the property that you own with the husband will be taken away. So this is a threat that you also create in the mother's mind, that if you don't give the child to the father for access or visitation, आपका जो 50% property है that you own with the husband will be transferred to the husband automatically. So it depends, the judges also find permutations and combinations के हमको कैसे resolve करना है matter, because the wife is also tied ना, वो कैसे Thailand से she'll keep coming, or the husband, the kid has a school over there in Thailand. So
तो ये कस्टडी जो होती है बच्चों की, वो बॉय और गर्ल की डिफरेंट है ना? अगर गर्ल है तो आप फादर को नहीं जाए?
No, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. It differentiates to different personal laws. So under the Hindu laws, until the child is 5 years old, it's with the mother, and after that it goes to the father automatically.
इसमें जेंडर मैटर नहीं करता बच्चे का?
It does definitely. After 6-7, if the child has some knowledge and she's saying I'm uncomfortable with the father, then obviously the best interest of the child is taken. But as per what the law says, that after 5 the father becomes the natural guardian of the child. Same applies to the Parsis and Christians. In Muslim also, the child remains with the mother for the first few years, and then in Muslim the natural guardian becomes the mother. But now say tomorrow at the age of 6 the father becomes a natural guardian, but as a daughter I'm not comfortable. I go and tell this to the court. The court will hear the child out and can give it to the mother. So even if the law says that the father is the natural guardian, it's not necessarily that he will be getting the custody of the child. It really depends on case-to-case basis, and it's not only about the comfort, it's also about the financial stability of which partner is doing better. Not tomorrow the mother is not earning anything and she doesn't have enough resources to take care of the child. Technically, the court will grant the custody to the father because he's more capable of handling the child, even financially.
तो बहुत कुछ ऐसे भी देखा होगा कि ट्रैप कर रहा है कोई, मतलब झूठा केस डाले, विच हंट, और फिर वो गलती उसी के अगेंस्ट गलत प्रूव हुआ हो.
Yeah, so there are a lot of cases wherein the wife sometimes files a lot of cases against the husband and his family, tries to rope them in false cases because she just wants to. It becomes an ego, अगर मैं कल भी बोलूँ I'm settling for an X amount, which is a very big amount, they will still not accept it because अभी ना उनको they have a junoon of fighting in court and just dragging the husband left, right and center, and it's not only the wife, this can also happen from the husband's side. So but yeah, there are cases. There is an ongoing case that I'm having wherein the wife has made the husband's life miserable. There's not a single court in Mumbai that he is not visiting. In a month he goes to 4 to 5 courts. So his job is getting hampered. He's paying money left, right and center. He is also taking care of all the 3 children. So the burden on him is definitely a lot. But I'm not saying this is every case. These are rare cases wherein the husband gets trapped to such an extent. But yes, there are definitely false cases that are.
तो कितना मैक्सिमम टाइम कितना आता है जजमेंट आने में?
So if you're contesting it in the family court, it's minimum 3 to 4 years. अगर आप फाइट करें, minimum. Complicated case है, minimum 3 to 4 years. से अभी 4 years के बाद मेरे को divorce नहीं चाहिए and my husband wanted a divorce and the divorce gets granted, I can appeal.
अच्छा
I can appeal in the higher court.
हाँ.
So now I will immediately go to the higher court and I will knock the doors of the
Hmm.
high court. The high court will hear the matter. If again it is in the favor of the husband and if still I'm not happy, I will appeal to the Supreme Court.
कौन करता
So
है सर?
there are matters going on for 20 years. I have a client who is in my chamber since the past 20 years. They are just fighting.
आपने तो बोला था कि आप 25 की 5 साल की उम्र से
Not
आपके
the seniors that I work with, the clients who are with my seniors and I am helping them in those matters. 20 years से my seniors are fighting and I am assisting them in those matters.
So कितना एक्सपेंसिव है इंडिया में केस क्लाइंट को कितना खर्चा आ जाता है अगर मतलब डिसेंट लॉयर हायर करें या
There is no cap because every lawyer has a different pay package, payment schedule. There are some lawyers who would just do it pro bono also, free me. Like if you are my relative, I will technically fight for you for like a zero amount or a minimal amount. But there are some lawyers, and depends which lawyer you go to as well, right? I mean, tomorrow I might take the best counsel of India. I might take the Attorney General of India and tell him to fight my case. So the fee
पर फिर भी
structure,
गारंटी नहीं है कि आप जीतोगे
there
या
is no guarantee in
वो जज के ऊपर है कि वो
yes,
क्या सोचता है
definitely. And there's no guarantee, but all you can do is try your best. Both the parties definitely try their best to prove the matter. So if I'm saying I want divorce under the grounds of cruelty, it's on me. The burden on proof is on me. I have to prove कि cruelty उसने मेरे पे कैसे किया है. They don't have to prove. They just have to deny. If the judge is satisfied that मेरे साथ cruelty हुआ है, I get the divorce, right? So it depends, and there is no fee structure.
तो how about poor people वो तो केस लड़ते ही नहीं होंगे वो
No,
मतलब
no.
सेपरेट ही हो जाते होंगे
No, there is a provision of legal aid when you can go to any court and they can get lawyers at a very minimal rate or even zero. That's called legal aid. So they do have that provision for sure. And there are some lawyers who do pro bono matters. Even I have taken up pro bono matters because you have to give back to the society at some day or the other. I'm not saying we continue to do pro bono because then we will not be able to work with our profession. But technically every lawyer does a few pro bono matters in their life.
तो आपको लगता है कि हमारे इंडियन लॉ में जो लॉ आप प्रैक्टिस करते हैं उसमें लूप होल्स हैं जिसका फायदा क्लाइंट उठाता है
Definitely.
लीगली
Definitely.
वो क्या है
There
कहाँ
are
पे हैं?
loopholes that wives can take against the husband because of obviously the gender, and most of the laws favor a wife when it comes to a divorce because they have so many provisions under which they can rope the husband in. There is cruelty, there is 490, there's domestic violence. So and because if there's a
पर ये
child,
तो मर्द भी इसके लिए वो कर सकते हैं उसके
domestic
साथ
violence a man cannot.
क्यों
the-
पर होता है मैंने
no.
केसेस देखे कि फीमेल मार रही है उसको पीट
Correct,
रही है
but that will be
आपको-
under criminal and that will not come under domestic violence. So
Okay.
domestic violence ka the whole act is called as protection of women under domestic violence. So it's women, right? It's a woman centric law. So a man cannot file for a domestic violence in court. It's only a woman centric. It will be a wife versus husband and the in-laws.
तो वो पत्नी पीड़ित संघ में जा सकता है
Yeah. Technically, or he can appeal in the high court for some sort of
तो वो तो
relief.
क्रिमिनल मतलब वो क्रिमिनल केस ही कर सकता है कि मेरी बीवी मुझे मारती है पर
That will go
family
under
court में
cruelty. Family court में under cruelty. Divorce under cruelty.
डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस में
Domestic violence will
वो
be
नहीं
separate.
करते।
No, not for domestic violence.
जबकि वो देखा जाए तो डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस ही है
Technically, yes, the laws should be changing to an extent, should be equalized. But as on today, it is protection of women against domestic violence.
तो और अभी लोगों को अवेयरनेस है मतलब जो शादी में है और उनको अवेयरनेस है कि हमें लॉज के बारे में पता है कि हम हमारे राइट्स क्या है हम क्या कर सकते हैं आप देखते हो कि
It
ऐसा-
depends. So metropolitan city may also there are people who are educated and still are not aware of their laws. Like there are some women who they come to us for consultation and they are unaware of the laws despite being a school teacher or being a professor. They don't know. So I feel like everyone should be aware of what their rights are, be it a man or a woman. And if you go to see in smaller cities, people are definitely not aware. So the education there regarding
या
their
फिर
rights,
इग्नोरेंस है वो चाहते हैं पचड़े में
ignorance भी है. There is ignorance also, but I would say that is very lesser amount. अगर metropolitan cities की बात किए तो it's more about not being aware.
तो सेपरेटेड होना मतलब आप अलग अलग रह रहे हो लेकिन एज पर लॉ आप मैरिड हो
yes, you are married as per law, and tomorrow agar even if I'm living separately with you for the past 10 years, 11th year mein I can come and say give me maintenance. There is no law that I cannot, because you yet remain my husband, so I cannot technically ask you.
तो अगर वाइफ या हस्बैंड चीटिंग का केस डालते हैं तो वो तो प्रूव करना पड़ेगा, पर
that
अगर
comes under adultery.
हाँ एडल्ट्री, तो उसमें तो कोई अगर प्रूफ नहीं है तो कैसे प्रूव?
It will not work. It will not stand in the court. So you have to prove an adultery. Again, the burden of proof in adultery, what happens is, if I'm saying my husband has adultery, I have to prove that he has somebody else in his life. So there are various evidences to prove that, probably hotel registration entries, chats, photographs, call logs, all of that can be.
WhatsApp chat admissible hai abhi?
As of now, yes. Email exchanges, photographs, all of this comes, but at the stage of trial and at the stage of when you cross the party, and then you can also rope in the person your spouse is having an affair with. So I can rope in the woman, or the husband can rope in another man and add them as a co-respondent. So it's usually petitioner versus respondent. Petitioner is the person who complains, and respondent is the person who is against and who's defending the matter. So if I am seeking for a divorce against adultery for my husband, I can add the girl's name as well and try to get her also to court, or usko bhi check karke lao. So there is a provision. But if I'm adding that girl's name, I need to have really strong proof.
नहीं तो वो भी केस कर सकती है?
Yes, definitely. Defamation का केस कर सकती है, definitely.
तो जैसे एलुमनी है, उसमें वो अमाउंट कौन डिसाइड करता है? कोर्ट डिसाइड करता है, या फिर जिसने केस किया कि मैं इतने पैसे, और उस बंदे की अगर इतनी कैपेसिटी नहीं है?
Correct. So there is no quantum or a formula to decide how much alimony the wife or the husband deserves. There are various factors that depend on alimony कैसे दिया जाएगा. अभी मेरे हिसाब से I need 1 crore. I mean, is that my husband's capacity to pay me 1 crore? No, right? So the husband has to prove how he cannot give her 1 crore. So there are various factors. My standard of living. When I was living with the husband, how was my lifestyle? Was I driving a Mercedes or was I driving a Maruti 500? Capacity. His earning capacity. If there is a child involved, and what are their dependents? Does he have his own parents to take care, because they will be old? If there's a child, uski upar education, uski marriage ke kharche, all of that. So there are various factors that are involved while deciding an alimony amount. So the judges consider all of that, and recently the Supreme Court has come up with a very nice formula that I must say. It is not a straitjacket formula, but it is somewhere close to where we can go. In November 2020, the Supreme Court came up with this judgment wherein both the parties have to file their affidavit of assets and liabilities.
जैसे इलेक्शन में होता है, आपको डिक्लेयर करना पड़ेगा कि मेरे पास
ये सब है, and you have to be truthful about it, because this is on oath, or else you commit perjury. So husband and the wife, even if the wife is earning 0 or the husband is earning 0, it is all on paper. Your properties, your bank accounts.
तो इन्वेस्टिगेट होता है ये?
Yeah, no. So basically, when you say I am filing an affidavit, the parties usually come with clean hands, because they do not want to commit perjury. But there are instances where one of the party is trying to do some kind of mischief. So and if the wife or the husband is aware that she is doing or he is doing this mischief, they can call upon the court to go inquire with his employee. Now tomorrow, if I say my salary is only 15,000, but technically I'm earning around 1 lakh, and my wife is aware of that, she can send a notice to my employer to come and say that his salary is 1 lakh. So if you want to play smart, there are ways out. But technically, people usually file their true income. And looking at that income and the arguments the lawyers place, the judges decide the amount of maintenance the husband or wife deserves.
Prenup क्या होता है?
Prenup is something that a husband and wife, it's a legal contract that they enter into.
India में valid है?
It is not valid in India. It is still in debate, just like marital rape is. Prenups are still in debate in India. So it's basically a contract that the both parties enter into before getting married, that agar hum log ka marriage break hua and it does not last, this is how we will part ways. This is how the division of money, property, child will happen. Now say today I enter into a prenup with my husband, but tomorrow when I'm getting divorced, I raise my hands and say it's not a valid legal document as per the Indian law. So I don't want to. It's technically right.
Hmm.
But then, so there's another way, or there's something called as MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, which the parties can enter before marriage, if not a prenup. But if when they go to the judges don't see that what is written, but they see the intent of the parties. कि, you know, उन लोग ने ये सोचा था. So now even if the wife or the husband is trying to retract from this prenup or this MOU, at least the intent was decided back then, and then it's on the judge. To be honest, it's still in the grey, which we are also trying to contemplate whether how to take up prenups. But we have a lot of couples come to us and say we want to enter into a prenup.
पर वो आप कर सकते हो.
We do it because it's a legal contractual document which we do.
पर वो supporting document काम नहीं करेगा कोर्ट में बाद में.
अगर one party finally decides I don't want to, then definitely it will not hold. But if both the parties during divorce show the prenup, they can go for it mutually. If they agree that this prenup is still valid between you and me, they will go for a mutual divorce. But if one party says no, then it's a whole court case altogether.
कितना मुश्किल होता है सही को सही साबित करना और गलत को गलत, लेकिन जज की जजमेंट डिफरेंट आती है.
Exactly. No matter how hard you try, no matter how hard the lawyer tries by even trying to show the intent while signing a prenup, it's on the judge. And also it's not it's not legalized yet, you know, so we don't have any past cases or precedents to follow. Reference even the judges don't have at this point of time, and not a normal high court judge can pass a rule. It has to come from the higher authorities.
तो ये हमारे लॉ है, ये वही शुरू से जो चलता आ रहा है ब्रिटिश टाइम से, वो वही है या मैरिज लॉ इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम?
No, there are personal laws again. So as I told you, Hindu marriage is a Hindu law. Christian, Parsi.
कब लिखे गए हैं ये सब?
So it depends. Like Hindu Marriage Act was 1955. Special Marriage Act was somewhere in the 1900s. All of them, but every years are different. So the laws are coded in a different year, all of them.
तो जजेस भी ह्यूमन बीइंग है, तो कभी इमोशनल होके डिसीजन देते हैं? आपको ऐसा लगता है कि यार ये सही डिसीजन दिया नहीं, मेरे फेवर में नहीं है?
Sometimes even in my current ongoing matter, wherein the husband has been paying regularly and paying the EMIs of the house, the child's maintenance, society, paying the wife also maintenance, the court is yet ordering him to pay more amount or clear the pending arrears. So sometimes it feels like, you know, the judge is not being supportive because probably he is not, I'm not saying he would be biased, but he also comes from a frame of mind that maybe the wife needs the money, but then the husband has proof that she does not need the money. So sometimes the judges are also clouded, but you can't really tell the judge that aapke thoughts clouded hai, so you know, think about it. Then you appeal. Say if this judge passes a favor against me,
तो कोई केस सुप्रीम कोर्ट भी जाता है ऐसे?
All the matters that are going on since 20 years are going to Supreme Court. This ongoing matter that I'm talking about, we are definitely, it will one day reach Supreme Court. I'm pretty sure, because it's not going to get settled the way it's going.
तो जैसे आप केस चल रहा है आपका, जो भी प्रोसीडिंग्स चल रही हैं, तो कभी घर पे भी आते हैं वो थॉट्स आपके? मतलब वो घर आ जाते हो आप अपने फैमिली के साथ हो, फ्रेंड्स के साथ हो, तो वो कहीं दिमाग में चल रहे होते हैं वो केसेस या वो लोग?
So when I started my practice, because I'm also a female and this is a matrimonial law and females are more, expressive about their emotions. My family did have, they were hesitant कि, ये matrimonial family law में जा रही है. It might affect her thinking about a marriage or about how I can look at life or a partner. But I decided, so when I joined this field of matrimonial law, it was very difficult, not gonna lie. I would come back home and there were times I would just have to sit with myself and calm myself down, because it does affect you. At the end of the day, you are human, I mean, even if it's a man or a woman, there are a lot of emotions and feelings that run. So it was difficult in the beginning. There were times I would, cry to myself. But over a period of time now, it's become like a way of living. A doctor commits surgeries and a patient does not survive it. He cannot sit and cry over it. So same now, we don't bring matters back home. I don't bring any stress back home when it relates to this, because I deal with every case as a case, not as a human. I'm not attached to my clients personally, because if I do that, I've lost half the battle. If I get personally involved with my clients, I lose half the battle, because then I'm fighting for my own emotions, and that's not how it works. A lawyer should not be doing that.
और कभी ऐसा भी होता है कि आपके पास जैसे कोई ए केस लेके आया अगेंस्ट बी, तो लेकिन आपको लगता है कि यार आपका क्लाइंट गलत है, सही तो वही है, पर आपको उसको गलत प्रूव करना है.
Yeah, it depends. It's up to me whether मेरे को वो client लेना है, whether I want to fight that matter or not, or I can just return the brief back. So it depends
तो
on
कितनी
lawyer
बार
to.
ऐसा होता है कि आपको पता है दूसरी पार्टी सही है लेकिन मेरा क्लाइंट गलत है, लेकिन आप उसके लिए
So technically in a marriage I would say there's no right or wrong. It's because of a fault of both the parties that they have reached a situation. I'm not saying it's majorly that, but like generally speaking, it is both the parties ka ego clashes that comes over. So there's no right or wrong. It's not like I have murdered someone and I am wrong. Here it is because of your differentiation and incompatibility and not being able to compromise, you reach a situation. So I just feel like when you speak to your client, you try to adapt their story. You believe them. Somewhere down the line, I know that maybe if my client would have not done that, then that guy would have not reacted in that way. But now when I'm speaking to my client, I tend to believe my client. So I will fight for my client. I'm not saying my client is 100% right, because again in a marriage law, both ka 50-50 involvement hota hai. So 50% my client is wrong, 50% my client is also right.
तो मैं ही जानना चाहता हूँ कि आप बहुत सारे केसेस मैरिज से रिलेटेड डील करती हैं, तो हैप्पी मैरिज लाइफ के लिए आप क्या आपको क्या एसेंस क्या निकल के आता है कि ये अगर आप ऐसे ऐसे रहोगे या ऐसे ऐसा करोगे तो आपको प्रॉब्लम्स फेस करनी नहीं पड़ेंगी. क्या हो गया?
Is this fine?
मुझे बड़ा मजा आ रहा है शादी की बातें सुन के. हाँ आप फिर से करते हैं इसको. हाँ. तो जैसा कि आप सब ये केसेस लड़ती हैं शादी से रिलेटेड, आपके पास बहुत सारे कपल्स आते हैं, नए पुराने हर तरीके के, तो आपको बहुत एक्सपीरियंस हो गया होगा कि एक सच्चा रिलेशनशिप शादी का जो है वो कैसे सक्सेसफुल रह सकता है और कैसे हैप्पीली वो कपल लीड कर सकते हैं मैरिज लाइफ.
I think communication is key. And I feel that in this generation, the parties don't communicate their feelings with each other and they just jump to conclusions. So I feel like you need to communicate with your partner as to how you want them to be, because everyone has a different way of lifestyle. Tomorrow I don't want a dirty sock lying down. So you have to communicate with the partner. Tomorrow this might just become a very big topic for a fight, correct? So communication is one, understanding your partner and trying to understand and adapting to their flaws and mistakes. Not everyone is perfect. You have to adapt to everyone's personality, and you yourself sometimes have to adjust and compromise, be it a man or be it a woman, because you are spending a life with a different individual. That individual has led their 25 years differently, and now when they live with you, the life changes. So both have to adjust and compromise, and communication with not only your partner but also your in-laws is something which is very important. Because if that's not there, then the main rift is because the in-laws try to interfere in the marriage, and the parties try to, the parties just get drifted apart because in-laws का इतना involvement होता है. So yeah,
पेशेंस की कमी हो गई है सब में.
Patience, not understanding, jumping to conclusions at the brink of it, financial independency, even if you are earning and you know that I can do without my wife or husband tomorrow, communicate. Just don't take off.
अब मोस्टली मैंने ये देखा है कि जो शादियां 21, 22, 23 साल में जो जल्दी में हो जाती है ना, उनके डिवोर्स जल्दी हो जाते हैं, या फिर जो 30 के बाद शादियां करते हैं, लेट करते हैं, उनकी शायद ज्यादा
No, I would beg to differ, because I feel like जब आपको लगता है time right है, tomorrow my time would be at the age of 18 and I feel I'm ready, means I'm ready. It depends. Now, obviously, over the years, 10-20 years के बाद I realize I'm not getting along with my partner, तो फिर obviously हम divorce के लिए जाएंगे. But that has nothing to do कि मैंने 18 की उम्र में शादी की है. Tomorrow I have clients who are getting married for the first time at the age of 50 and they're getting divorced in another 3 years. So how do you define कि 18 was wrong and 50 was right? It is honestly depending on each couple individually. There is no answer to this.
और कुछ आप क्या कहना चाहेंगी, क्या अवेयरनेस देना चाहेंगी मैरिज लॉ को लेके, और कुछ भी आप जो बोलना चाहें, जो मेरे से छूट गया हो, जो मैं नहीं पूछ पाया या स्किप हो गया।
आई फील आपने बहुत कुछ कवर तो कर लिया है, बट आई डोंट हैव एनीथिंग एल्स टू से. आई जस्ट फील लाइक the parties should not get into an ego battle, and they should try to mediate the matter, because as a lawyer, the first thing, it sounds very bizarre and ridiculous as a lawyer if I say that don't fight it out in courts and don't litigate it, but it also needs to be understood that I'm a matrimonial and family lawyer. So my first task is to try to resolve the matters amicably between the parties, because they are coming from so much stress and turmoil in their personal life, and we don't want them to come to court and court ke dhakke khao, chakkar khao, and court mein half the things what is said is false. And then it hurts the opposite side. So why do you want to undergo that? Why do you want to make your family get dragged into court, your parents, your small child? So how much ever it is possible, try to resolve the issue amicably. Yes, you all can come to lawyers, and as a lawyer, we feel like before being a lawyer, I'm more of a counselor and a mediator, because we try to amicably resolve the issues. And sometimes the issue is so small, but it just gets blown out of proportion. So you just have to sit down and explain to them that this is not how it is. And if still the parties are not willing to, live together anymore, you can undergo a mutual divorce, wherein you get done really soon in 6 months. And whatever you want is, 50-50, both the parties are happy.
तो फीमेल पार्टनर जो होता है वो मोस्टली क्या मेल लॉयर चूज करते हैं, फीमेल लॉयर चूज करते हैं, ऐसा कुछ है? इससे कुछ इम्पैक्ट पड़ता है?
Not really. Not really. I mean, it depends up to you which lawyer you are comfortable with. But there is no thing like a woman chooses a man or a man chooses a woman. It depends which lawyer you have confidence and faith in.
तो आपकी फैमिली को ये नहीं लगता कि हमारी बेटी ये फैमिली लॉ में है, इस मैट्रिमोनियल लॉ में है, तो शादी से डरेगी, या इसकी शादी है तो करेगी नहीं, इसको तो पता लग गया कि शादी से होता है? कभी पर्सनल लाइफ में इम्पैक्ट पड़ा है आपके प्रोफेशन का?
डर तो था, डेफिनेटली. माय पेरेंट्स वर स्कैर्ड बिगिनिंग में बिकॉज ऑफ being a girl and changing her mindset. But I feel like now we have all made peace with the fact that we don't get work at home. हम काम को घर पे नहीं लाते, and it has now become a way of life. So even they understand that I know where to draw the line between work and my personal life. So I think everyone has adapted.
बदले शादी को लेके ये ज्वाइन करने के बाद?
Not really. I still believe in the institution of marriage. So मेरे लिए it's not changed as of now, touch wood. So yeah.
थैंक यू कशिश यार, बहुत अच्छा लगा आपसे बात करके, और आपने बहुत कुछ हमारे दर्शकों को बताया, और बहुत सारी चीज़ें मुझे भी नहीं पता थी और उनको भी नहीं पता होंगी शायद, तो वो आपने एजुकेट किया, और मुझे लगता है एक बार फिर हम कभी फ्यूचर में आपसे फिर दोबारा बात करेंगे।
डेफिनेटली।
और वैली कल्चर और चैनोलॉजी पॉडकास्ट की तरफ से आपके लिए एक छोटा सा गिफ्ट।
थैंक यू सो मच, दैट्स रियली स्वीट ऑफ यू. Thank you and all the very best for your podcast series, and I hope to be a part of it soon again if you ever need the same advice. Thank you.